Gotta say, it's fantastic.
Say that again?
It's fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God! This is the worst song I've ever heard! What is the context behind this song, bruh?
Can you imagine at the end of Marvel Zombies Season 2, the full circle moment for Marvel Zombies is the appearance of the Ultimate Fantastic Four? Fan4stic, as I always call them. Doesn't matter what universe I call them, I will always call them the Fan4stic because I'm that lazy of a mother trucker. Anyway, the year was 2015, and I was in Peru at the time visiting family. My aunt decided to take me to see a new Marvel film, and it was none other than Fan4stic, the one people love so much. I was 12, so after I watched that movie, I was like, huh, that was truly one of the movies of all time. I didn't have any strong negativity on it or anything. I just be like, I didn't even thought it was mid. I was just like, huh, that was an experience. I understood the story and went along with it. That's literally what it was, alright? Fast forward to 11 years later. I finally sat down the other day and watched the freaking movie again. And let's just say, I really feel bad for this movie. Not in a sense where it's like a masterpiece or anything. No, I sense the real problem with this movie. And that is a very typical Fox at the time, but definitely a lazy adaptation of the Ultimate Fantastic Four. That's the reason why I give this movie way less crap than everybody else does, is because everybody expects it to be like regular Fantastic Four, but it's supposed to be an adaptation of the Ultimate Fan4stic, but for some reason, they did that but lazier. That's the real problem. This movie was lazy. Like, there were some moments where I'm just like, there's a little substance to it, but the rest of it is lazy. You can say what you want about Doom, but like, it's just the funny thing is on paper, it's not bad. On paper, like if you write the plot, like if you write the synopsis of the movie on paper, it ain't bad. And if you just take away everything that happened in the Fan4stic lore, like if this was the first time you ever see Fan4stic ever, no comics, no nothing, this still would have been pretty mid. This would have been pretty mid. There is a hallway moment in this movie that nobody talks about, but that's mainly because there's barely any fighting in the hallway. They're just walking around the hallway, just roaming around. And I don't know why I forgot to mention this, but like the only at least two good things about this movie. It's the soundtrack was pretty okay. I mean, like I was feeling the vibe of what the theme of the movie's supposed to be, but the actual real good thing was obviously how the movie looked. You know, like how the thing looked and the powers and the special effects. That's the only real good thing about this movie. I find it funny how at the time RM of BTS, the fact that RM had to promote that movie is hilarious to me. That is as a Marvel fan, that is the most hilarious piece of trivia I've ever dealt with in my life. That is just like, that's amazing. But there is one thing that will perfectly transition into what I'm about to talk about. And that is, they can come back. After seeing this movie and I think about it over the last while, I'm thinking, dang, I think the Maker would be a perfect villain for the future. Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, the Maker, maybe he'll be a cameo in Secret Wars and just move on. Maybe he's just a screen in the background or something. But I'm thinking, wait, this is actually some potential here. There's actually some real potential. And here's my pitch. Let's say Marvel Zombies has a third season, for whatever reason. The end of season 2, the cliffhanger is, again, that's full circle moment to Ultimate Fan4stic. Because if you know your history, the first appearance of Marvel Zombies is the Ultimate Fan4stic run. So imagine a full circle moment, you know, where it's like, oh, they show up. Because I remember people were like theorizing, oh, look, what happened to the Fan4stic show up in the Marvel Zombie show? And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense because it's from an alternate reality. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the Fan4stic does come from another reality. It's just not the one you're thinking of. That's perfect.
The Bible.
What?
Bible.
What?
Bible.
What?
Bible.
What?
Bible.
Okay, because here's my trilogy pitch for the Maker, okay? The Marvel Zombies series is when they show up and whatever happens to them happens, and maybe Reed has some seeds of craziness. And then the next one is maybe like a special presentation or something, but he's like trapped by the TVA or something because they were afraid he might become the Maker or something. Because like, oh, he might be one of them. He's like, what the freak? And then he's just bound by destiny or insanity and all that, and that's how he loses it. And then either Fan4stic 2, MCU Fan4stic 2 or 3, the main villain should definitely be the Maker. The Fan4stic sequel with Maker as the villain is a perfect villain as like a parallel between Reeds. Because obviously, if you know your history, the Reeds were different in terms of how they were raised. Regular Reed is good dad. Ultimate Reed is not good dad. So like they still have the same intellect, but very different reasons and how different motivations. Obviously, we barely get a lazy glimpse of it in an actual Fan4stic movie, but it's like not even any. It's barely anything. So I feel like a definitely real, unfiltered, deep, unfiltered portrayal of Maker's origins. It'd be the ultimate like parallel for Reeds as parents, especially if Monsieur Reed is a dad. So, and then Maker is going to be like obsessed with finding his own family or making his own family like a crazy person. And that would be really wild. That's a wild break the internet moment because no one will expect that. Ultimate Fan4stic shows up in Marvel Zombies will be such a cultural shock in the Marvel fandom. We'll be like, wait a minute, why? And then everybody's like, oh, the Maker. And definitely there's going to be a case where like everybody becomes a zombie. Well, I know people are like, oh, Thing cannot become a zombie. I kind of get it, but don't get it. When people are like, how does Wolverine and Thing not become a zombie? It doesn't make sense because of their biology. Yeah, but how are we going to market a zombie Wolverine? How are we going to market it? Okay? I'm sorry. I understand. Valid points. But at the same time, how are you going to have a zombie Wolverine? How are you not going to have that? Okay, the whole point of the Marvel Zombies universe is to have everybody be a zombie. That's the point. Even Zombie Hulk. Okay? Sure, the MCU technically, scientifically portrayed it accurately, I guess. But like, you know, there was no Zombie Hulk. And here's why there's a perfect opportunity for Ultimate Fan4stic to come back, is you can actually give them freaking personality. Like, they barely have any personality. And there are some moments in the movie where I'm like, okay, there is a little bit of Maker in him, but there's barely anything, because it's lazy. Because the Ultimate Fan4stic run in the comics is actually, like, I went through it and I was like, huh, dang, I feel bad for the downfall. I feel bad for the downfall. Also, we already have our MCU Fan4stic, so I don't think people would hate the fact that we'll bring the one that people dislike the most back, you know? So, why not? It'd be funny. It would be funny. It would be funny. Hope you have a good day, guys. Thanks for watching this little quickie of Marvel. Not like that, relax. So, yeah.